Hi everyone, and welcome back to a new video here. Now, I wanted to make a video in regards to, or a series in regards to the keybinds that I use for ARB and also simulator mode. Now, the first series will focus on ARB specifically, or ground realistic battles in regards to armament, radar, the type of settings that I do use, and the keybinds. I will also give you some alternatives as well, and what I currently use. Now, I also managed to get to work the keybinds here, so you can also see on what I'm pressing. For today's videos, I am going to use the F16 POBIT. I'm still getting some modifications for it, but it will be plenty of good enough for this video. The first video will focus on the radar controls and the different options that you have and what I would personally recommend for RRB. Now the F16 POBIT uses an ASR radar. It's not as different as the other radars in regards to the controls, and we'll go through that together. I'm going to go into a test flight in regards to show you guys a couple of things. So now that we are in the test flight, I will start with some essentials. Now, one of the things that I do not like about the radar is the triangle shape one. So normally, by default, the default one is it is going to be this one. Now, this can be useful in regards to showing to you where would be the limit of the radar. However, it is quite a bit harder to read than the rectangular one. So this would be the first thing that I would recommend that you switch. So in order to do that, you want to go to Options, then you go to Air Battle Settings, and then you have Use Rectangular Radar Indicator. So this one it's a lot easier to read. You can also see the limit of it. So if I go like this, I can see the plane and the limit of it. Now, this is a personal taste, but I do prefer it to keep it like this. Now, in regards to the radar controls, there are two ways that you do want to go about it. One of them is in regards to the manual cues of it. I will first show you guys the general settings. So I do have them set up for the keyboard on my keyboard for number 1, 2, 3, and 4 in regards to controlling a bit of the radar. So in order to set those settings up, as I do have them, you want to go to Controls, Radar IRST Control Mode, and then you have this. Change Radar Mode to 1, Visual Range Combat 2, Search Mode on 4, Scope Scale on 3, and then I also have a Reset Direction to Board Sight on Alt and Q. Now you also have Lock Radar, I have it on X, and select radar target to lock, I have it on alt, and I will get more into this one and some alternatives that you do have. What exactly do my keybinds do here? So if for example I press on 1, it switches to search, pulse Doppler, so on and so forth. So it switches to the modes directly. Now if I press on 2, that's going to change to the ACM mode. I call this part of the modes a sub mode. So I have the ACM mode. I press 2 again. It's going to switch to the head-mounted targeting system. So I can look around and kind of select the targets where I can. And if I press 2 again, it switches back to the normal one. If I press on 3, that's going to switch the range of the radar. By default, I keep it to 74. And if I press on 4, that changes the scale of it. So narrow, wider, so on and so forth. Depending on the radar, you might have a bit more options here. Now, one of the things that you are observing is in regards to the different sub modes is if I go to the ACM mode, I simply have this rectangle here. Now, what I can do instead, if I press on 4, it is going to change to the tall aspect mode of it. Now, this mode is quite useful when it comes to dogfighting because you don't need to use a head-mounted display in that. In my opinion, it's a bit more efficient because you have one less button to press to also lock. Another option here would be if I press on 4 again, it switches to the bigger rectangle here. And if I press on 4 again, it goes back. I press on 2, it goes to the head-mounted targeting system. And if I press on 2 again, it goes back to the TWS. Now, how do I actually switch the targets? So let me try to get some targets here on my radar. It's gonna take just a moment. There we go. So you see that I have two targets on my radar. Now, the way that I use to change it, I press on Alt and it is going to switch. Some of the people that I've seen, they use manual targeting. Um, I will also show you those settings as well. However, in my opinion, for RRB, you don't need those that much. And actually, in certain cases, it can be even um, you might have too much information or too many things as a workload to do, and that can distract you a bit from everything, especially if you're trying to learn new keybinds. So I simply have it on Alt, and that's going to switch from one target to another. Now, if by any chance I want to lock it, I do have it on X. I press on X, and it locks target. I do press on X again, and it's not anymore there. Now, if I press on 2, for example, it gives me directly the ACM mode. Bam, I locked it. Or yeah, let's say if I'm in a dogfight, I'm trying here to dogfight this MiG-15. I'm trying to get on his 6. Bam, I'm already locked onto it, so I can prepare my M9M, shoot it, and that's it. It is a lot more easier in my opinion. Now, another thing to keep in mind. So, as some people do want to use the manual way of doing it, and I do not necessarily prefer that. But if you go into the controls and you go to radar IST control, you will have the horizontal target Q, vertical, and the tilt. Before you even set up your keybinds here, there is one thing that you need to set up. If you go into options, air battle, you want to disable cycling target switching. You want to do this on off, and then you want to go to the controls, radar, IRST control, and then you have those. Now the horizontal one, we got the maximum. Now the maximum it is going, or it should be Alt D. So I usually do Alt D and minimum value Alt A. Now for vertical, maximum value Alt W, minimum value Alt S. And for the tilt control, I usually do Alt Q. I'm going to replace this for now. And then we got minimum value Alt E. So what that would basically allow me to do, you see that I'm able to move the cursor on it, and it is also going to move the radar around it. Now, as you can see, I can still control my aircraft without any kind of issues while I'm doing this. Now, Alt Q will bring the radar up, Alt E down. I can also do Alt T. I can select my target here. I can prepare an M120. I can shoot it. I go to the other one, M120, and I shoot it. This is one of the ways that you can do it. However, you can very easily do it with by having it, as I shown you previously, with the Alt to be able to switch it. Now, depending on the situation that you're finding yourself in and the way that you initially got used to, you may want to do different options. However, as I said, I do prefer the manual way on there. Now, some other important things, or one of the things that I observed. So let me switch the radar. You see how the radar is blocked to the left side right there? Now, I'm going to disable this option here, you will need the reset radar direction to port site, and I usually have it to Alt Q right here. And let me also switch back to cycling. So usually the radar gets hanged up in the direction of where you initially lost the contact with whatever aircraft you were locked on, soft locked on. So if I press Alt Q now, it resets it back to um, it is going to reset it back to where I'm looking right now, to the board side of the plane. Now, there is another option here, one of them that I don't necessarily use it. It was antenna elevation, I believe. Yes, switch elevation, and let's put this on Alt E just to show you what it does. So if I press on it, it is going to keep the same elevation locked, basically a horizon lock in there as well. Now, why I don't necessarily use this, because let's say I have a plane right on top of me and I want to kind of look on there, the radar might not switch it because it's locked into the horizon. So I normally don't have that open. I like to simply have my plane or the radar on the board side of my plane. So that's going to allow me to always when I look around for my radar to be there as well. Now, unless I want to be a bit sneaky, and in that case, I simply switch to the HMS mode, and that way I don't give off any RWL signal towards the incoming aircraft or enemy plane. Now, one tip that I can give to you, and these are some settings that were initially showed. Um, you can only do this once and then unbind everything. If I go in controls and I go in common, and if I go to show, I have show mouse cursor. I'm just going to put this on Alt for a moment. Another button that you may need, it will be under change air radar control mode, and I have it on Alt Y. And another setting that you want, radar control RST, and then you have the filter, next IFF radar filter, and just for the sake of setting it up, I will put it on Alt E again. Now, if I press on Alt E, you are going to see that on the bottom left side of my radar, I got like right here, I got two symbologies there. The top one with the smaller line on top of it, that's going to reflect the fact that I can also see friendlies on my radar. And then on the bottom one, it is going to show me the enemy planes. So if I press Alt T again, now I'm only on the friendlies. It will only show me the friendlies. And if I press Alt T again, now this is going to only show me the enemy aircraft. I usually keep it like this. Now the other options is going to be if I press Alt Y, I'm going to get this menu. Now the right side right here, this is a filter for the radar, and so we got the aircraft, helicopters, missiles, small target, medium targets, and large targets. Because the radar is quite smart, I usually keep it only on aircraft, and I disable the missiles because that one is going to clutter a lot of your screen. And as long as you use your RWR properly, you won't even need to know to see the radar like that, to see the missiles like that. Helicopters, I would enable this if you are playing ground RB. Now, so you can also see the helicopters. And then these ones I keep it small because in NRB sometimes they might drop some bombs or glide bombs and they might show us as one of these targets here, which for me at least I'm not interested in that, so I disable everything besides the aircraft. Now the good thing is that you only need to set this up once. So if I press Y again, it's going to disable the buttons, and Y again, I'm back to where I was. So now I can simply uh, disable or unbind the other keybinds. Another thing, once or if you would prefer to have the mouse button to show up, to show the cursor, you can also control the map like this. or you can also use it to select the enemies that you do want to target. And let me turn back here a bit just to show you that part as well. Just a bit more. There we go. So if I press on Alt, I can select the target with the mouse. Now you can also use this if you have multiple targets or if you want to be just a bit more efficient. Or I can simply press on Alt and I can switch to through them. This is usually my go-to way of selecting things. So that was it for the first part of the video in regards to the radar controls. I hope it was useful to you. Now, keep in mind that whenever it comes to keybinds, you need to find something that's comfortable to you, something that you can get used to. And there is a lot of trial and error in regards to finding the most comfortable settings for you. Keep that in mind as you are watching, as you are trying new keybinds. I hope this was useful for you. And I'm going to see you on the next video when we are going to discuss a bit about air-to-air missiles and some keybinds that they usually have. Stay safe there, have clear skies, and I'm going to see you on the next one. Take care.